Joker, Folie, Deux leads Razzie Awards nominations. Joker, Folie, Deux leads this year's Razzie nominations 5 years after the first film led the nods for the Oscars. The infamous Golden Raspberry Awards mark the films its voters believe to be the worst of the year, with the winners always announced the night before the Academy Awards. While Joker received 11 Oscar nominations in 2020 with a Best Actor win for star Joaquin Phoenix, the sequel was not so well received. It is up for 7 prizes including Worst Film at this year's Razzies, with Phoenix and his co-star Lady Gaga also nominated in the acting categories. Also up for Worst Film are sci-fi comedy Borderlands, starring Oscar winner Cate Blanchett, the critically panned Spider-Man spin-off Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson, Francis Ford Coppola's self-financed passion project Megalopolis, and Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid as the former president. Other actors nominated for what the Razzies describes as less-than-stellar star turns in 2024 include Jennifer Lopez, Atlas, Kevin Hart, Borderlands, and one of Donald Trump's newly appointed apparent ambassadors to Hollywood, Jon Voight. Meanwhile, in contention for Worst Director alongside Coppola for Megalopolis are S.J. Clarkson, Madam Web, Todd Phillips, Joker, Folie, Deux, Eli Roth, Borderlands, and Jerry Seinfeld, Unfrosted. The Razzies nominations come a day before the shortlists for the Oscars are announced. More than 1,200 Razzie members, movie buffs, film critics, and journalists from across the U.S. and more than 20 other countries voted for the nominees. The winners will be unveiled on Saturday, March 1st, with the Oscars ceremony taking place on Sunday, March 2nd. Police investigate after Gladiators star harassed by stalker. Police have launched an investigation after Gladiators star Apollo was reportedly stalked and harassed. The 33-year-old, whose real name is Alex Gray, is said to have been targeted by a woman both on the set of the TV show in Sheffield and at his temporary accommodation in the city. South Yorkshire police said they were aware of reports of a man in his 30s being subjected to stalking and harassment. An investigation has been launched and inquiries are ongoing. Gray told The Sun on Sunday, "There was an incident. That's as much as I can say, until something comes of it and there's action taken. I'm still waiting to hear. The police are doing their thing." The newspaper also reported that the BBC and production company Hungry Bear Media had arranged for extra support and protection around the Utilita Arena Sheffield and outside the rented apartment block where performers stayed during filming. Gray was previously a rugby union player for the England Rugby Sevens team before transferring to NFL American football. He was among the 16 superhumans who joined the Gladiators lineup when the sports entertainment show was rebooted by the BBC last year. Gladiators Season 2 launched on BBC One last weekend after millions of viewers tuned into the first series. The original American Gladiators series was broadcast in the US in 1989, with a UK version following in 1992. The first UK show was presented by Ulrika Johnson and footballer John Fashanu, while the reboot is fronted by father and son duo Bradley and Barney Walsh. Hotels on Greek islands could soon fill swimming pools with seawater in drought fight. Hotel pools on Greek islands could be filled with seawater this summer as politicians try to combat the country's 2-year drought. Proposed new laws debated in the Greek parliament this week could pave the way for pipes to be installed connecting swimming pools at coastal hotels with the sea. The aim is to save shrinking water reserves on many Greek islands and use the water in other areas facing shortages. Elena Rapti, a deputy minister of tourism, told a parliamentary committee on Monday the legislation regulates the framework for carrying out seawater extraction and pumping it for swimming pools. The focus, of course, is to conserve water resources. Greece has faced acute drought conditions over the past 2 years, with the holiday season adding extra pressure on water resources, especially on islands which are popular tourist destinations. critics of the proposal have raised concerns about the environmental impact on coastal regions from what might be pumped out back into the sea. Meanwhile, wildfires in Greece have become more frequent in recent years during increasingly hot, dry summers linked to climate change. Last year, hundreds of wildfires burned across the country, while some of the country's hottest ever conditions were recorded. Judi Dench can't go out alone due to deteriorating eyesight. Dame Judi Dench has revealed she can no longer leave her house alone due to her deteriorating eyesight. The 90-year-old actress has macular degeneration, a condition which leads to a gradual loss of vision. In a new interview on Trinny Woodall's Fearless podcast, Dame Judi says somebody will always be with me when she leaves the house. I have to have someone now because I can't see, she continues. And I will walk into something or fall over. Reflecting on how she used to feel about attending events alone, Dame Judi said she was no good at that at all. And fortunately, I don't have to be alone now because I pretend now to have no eyesight, she laughs. In July 2023, Dame Judi said she was determined to work as much as I can despite her health issues. I mean, I can't see on a film set anymore, she told the Mirror's Notebook magazine. And I can't see to read. So I can't see much. But, you just deal with it. Get on. Dame Judi's acting career began in the 1950s when she made her stage debut in a production of Hamlet at London's Old Vic Theatre. In the decades since, she's conquered the worlds of TV and film, winning an Oscar for her role in the 1998 movie Shakespeare in Love and, more recently, playing the head of MI6 alongside Daniel Craig's James Bond. Dame Judi has also cemented herself as one of the UK's best stage actresses, winning a string of Olivier Awards for starring roles in plays including The Winter's Tale and Macbeth. Her most recent screen credit was in 2022, for a small role in Christmas film Spirited. She has continued to make public appearances, and last October, she was a speaker at the Cheltenham Literary Festival. Hamas attack survivor to represent Israel at Eurovision. A survivor of the October 7 Hamas attack has been chosen to represent Israel at Eurovision. Yuval Raphael was at the Nova Music Festival when Hamas led a cross-border attack from Gaza into southern Israel. Hundreds were killed and many were taken hostage at the event. The amateur singer was there with friends and later told Israel's parliament she hid under dead bodies for 8 hours. She added, "I'm going to deal with this thing for the rest of my life." The 24-year-old earned her place at Eurovision, taking place in Switzerland in May, after coming first in the Rising Star Singing Contest on Israeli TV. She won with a performance of ABBA's Dancing Queen, which she dedicated to victims of the attack which kick-started the war between Israel and Hamas. After winning, she said, "I can't explain how excited and ready I am. Thank you for giving me this huge honor and trusting me to represent my country on the grand Eurovision stage in Switzerland." Last year's Eurovision was overshadowed by the war in Gaza, with large demonstrations protesting against Israel's participation, and the country's representative was kept under tight security throughout. In the months since the 2023 attack, which killed over 1,200 people, Israel has killed over 45,000 people in Gaza, according to the health ministry, which doesn't distinguish between fighters and civilians. Around 90% of the enclave's population of 2.3 million people are said to have been displaced. A ceasefire was recently agreed for the conflict in Gaza, and will see the return of hostages and prisoners. Nepal steeply increases cost of climbing Mount Everest. Conquering Mount Everest will cost climbers an extra $4,000 after Nepal hiked up fees for the first time in almost a decade. Nepal's government has announced a 36% increase in permit fees, meaning they will go from $11,000 to $15,000 from September. Income from permit fees and other spending by foreign climbers is a key source of revenue and employment for the cash-strapped nation, home to 8 of the world's 14 highest mountains, including Mount Everest. The new $15,000 fee will apply for the popular April-May climbing season along the standard Southeast Ridge, or South Col route. Fees for the less popular September-November season and the rarely climbed December-February season will also increase by 36% to $7,500 and $3,750 respectively. Narayan Prasad Regmi, Director General of the Department of Tourism, said, "The royalty permit fees had not been reviewed for a long time. We have updated them now. About 300 permits are issued each year for Everest." Hundreds of climbers try to scale Mount Everest and several other Himalayan peaks every year. Nepal is often criticized by mountaineering experts for allowing too many people on Everest and doing little to keep it clean or to ensure climbers' safety. Climbers returning from Everest say the mountain is becoming increasingly dry and rocky with less snow or other precipitation, which experts say could be due to global warming or other environmental changes. The government has not commented on what the extra funds will go towards, but Mr. Regmi said cleaning campaigns had been organized to collect rubbish and that rope fixing and other safety measures were undertaken regularly.